Welcome to the tutorial for 3-2, Little Fun at the Big Top. This level is mostly pretty straightforward, but the boss fight is one of the hardest in the game, so it's worth dedicating a bit of practice. Before loading into the level, just after you skip the cutscene, you want to hit tag during the black screen, so you start the level as Robin. Once in this level, run to the left and punch the jack-in-a-box, then jump onto this barrel in the corner to get ready for a BRC. To get this BRC, face the wall and position the bottom right corner of Robin's cape halfway along the middle section of the barrel. When in the correct position, Robin should be slowly sliding to the left. Pull out the batarang now to clip. If the batarang doesn't come out immediately, you may have to tap slightly upright to stay in position. If you pull the batarang too far to the right, you won't clip, and if you pull it too far to the left, you'll clip but end up getting pushed back in bounds. Once you're out of bounds, run behind the far wall into the water below, then start kick jumping by pressing jump then attack repeatedly, while moving parallel to the wall. Stop when the camera pans. Now jump up into the collision behind this pillar and begin to line up to hit the transition by walking down until the blue arrow pointing at Robin is at the same vertical level as this dot, which is part of the cross on the wall. When you're lined up, press right on the D-pad, then up to hit the transition. If you go too far down while lining up, you'll clip back in bounds and have to do the backup. Also, if you take too long lining up, goons will aggro on you and make the setup much harder. To perform the backup, simply drop in P2 to help kill all the goons, then quickly after the last goon dies, build the metal object on the right, and at the same time move P2 behind it so he gets stuck after it's built. Then walk him into the wall and lag. To start the room, run towards the water and kick jump into it, then continue with 4 more kick jumps, before finally kick jumping back in towards land. Next, we're going to wall jump off of this metal beam to get up top. This is done by jumping in between the beam and the platform, then curving towards the beam near the apex of the jump. The timing and angle can be quite difficult to get down, so don't be disheartened if this takes you a while to learn. Once up top, keep running along here and jump over this collision. Now we're going to do an out of bounds clip to finish off this room. Start by double jumping onto the back of the giant pear, then holding left on the D-pad. Once Robin's foot starts clipping into the wall, pause the game. While still paused, lag and buffer pause and up on the D-pad by holding them in the lag menu. Now close the lag menu and you should have clipped. After falling out of bounds, hold attack to upwarp to the end of the room. You may need to repress attack if it doesn't work first try. Now walk right into the transition. At the beginning of this room, grapple up to the orange hook, then jump to the left and drop in Batman at the apex of the jump. This should cause Batman to warp under the floor, and he can now swim to the end of the room. Try to protect Robin while Batman swims by pulling out the batarang and punching goons to avoid losing too much health. Start by kick jumping into the water, then kick jumping 3 more times, before finally kick jumping onto the bar. From here, we're going to do a wall jump BDJ to get over the gate. It's important that you do this quickly, as we want to do this before any goons spawn, since they'll make the skip a lot harder. Once in position, quickly target this purple jack-in-a-box, then start the wall jump when the batarang hits it. Before we start the boss fight, it's important to note that Harley's initial position depends on how many players are dropped in when entering the boss fight. If only one player is dropped in, Harley will spawn on the right, and if both players are dropped in, Harley will spawn on the left. For the following demonstrations, I'll be using both players dropped in when starting the fight. However, keep in mind that if you start with only one, you'll need to mirror what I showed to the other side. Once in the boss fight, chase Harley with Robin and at the same time position Batman halfway up this wheel. It's important that Batman isn't too close to the edge of the wheel, as we don't want him to push Harley. Continue chasing Harley until she gets dizzy. Now when we punch Harley, as Robin is occupying the 3rd quadrant, and Batman is in both the 1st and 4th quadrant, Harley will be forced to jump into the 2nd quadrant, where it is easy to intercept her with Robin. Punch Harley, then quickly double jump after her. While in the camera pan, mash attack to punch her the moment it ends. To start the second phase, make sure Batman is still in position and that Robin is in the second quadrant, then throw a Batarang at all 3 Jack-in-the-Boxes. Get ready to jump back into the third quadrant the moment the last Jack-in-the-Box dies to intercept Harley. Mash attack out of this camera pan. From here, chase Harley just like in the first phase. Once Harley reaches roughly this position, she'll jump. Time a double jump after her, then mash attack out of the camera pan. Use both players to kill all 6 goons in the first wave. Then kill 5 of the goons in the second wave, leaving 1 alive. Now reposition Batman and move Robin into the second quadrant. Target the final goon with the Batarang and get ready to repeat the exact same process we used in phase 2. The first advanced method I'll show is less commonly used and is the full version of the beginner method. This method is exactly the same as the beginner method, but instead of chasing Harley in the second and third phases, we're going to turn around and double jump a second time after punching her in order to hit her again. When doing this, it's important you hold up for a few frames before jumping to turn Robin around and prevent him from backflipping and missing the cycle. Another thing to watch out for is that sometimes if you land too close to Harley, she'll punch you and you won't be able to hit her. This next method is the most used by top runners, as if you have a good grasp of 1p2c, it can be very consistent. This method starts with you chasing Harley, just like the beginner method. However, you want to place Batman in this position instead. After you punch Harley, since both players are in the third quadrant, Harley will jump to the first quadrant, and you want to double jump after her with Batman. Be careful to only start jumping after Harley jumps, or she won't jump to the right spot. Now move Batman and Robin to these positions, so Robin is in the second quadrant and Batman is in the third. Target the Jack-in-the-Boxes with the Batarang. After the last one dies, Harley will jump into the fourth quadrant, so you'll need to double jump after her with Robin. From here, mash attack out of the camera pan and get ready to double jump to the first quadrant with Batman, as this is where Harley will go. Again, be careful not to jump before Harley does, as she won't jump to the right spot if you do. Mash attack out of this camera pan to end the phase. Kill the goons in the same way we did in the other methods, making sure to leave 1 goon alive in the second phase. I die here because I started the fight on low health, but if you play the level properly, this shouldn't happen to you. The final phase is done in exactly the same way as the second, so I'll just let it play out. If you ever miss a cycle, you can back it up by remembering that Harley will always jump after travelling 7/8 of a circle, given that her run wasn't interrupted by her punching or getting pushed in the other direction. You can use this information by positioning Batman in the quadrant where she'll jump, then double jumping after her with Batman when she does. And that's it for this level. I'd now recommend watching the community gold for this level from the sheet in the community Discord. And on the topic of the Discord, if you have any questions about this level or anything else in this run, feel free to ask on there. There are plenty of friendly people who'll be happy to help.